Hello, today we're drawing an axolotl, which is a type of aquatic salamander found in Mexico City. You will need a pencil and you will need a selection of colored pencils. A dark one like a brown or a black, and different shades of pink. A light pink, a medium pink, and a dark pink, whatever you have. You probably also want an eraser and probably a pencil sharpener nearby. So we're going to start with basic shapes for our axolotl. And we're going to use what's called directional line, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so we're going to be working in shapes, and we're doing a basic oval shape for the head of the axolotl. Then we're going to do like a little egg shape that goes off this direction to the left for the body. For the tail, we're going to use what I mentioned earlier, a directional line. And then using this directional line, we're going to build the fat tail of the axolotl. And see how, because I used that directional line through the center, it looks like the tail is going off to the left and it stays in line with the body. We're going to erase that directional line later, so don't worry about that, but keep your lines light so that you can erase them and it won't be seen under your colored pencils. And next we're going to use directional lines to build the legs on the axolotl as well. All right, just working on the shape of the head a little more. And next we're going to build the legs around the directional line. And the way that I do hands, I start with a small square and then I put in the fingers off of the hand. So I was looking at axolotls and it looks like they have 5 toes on their back legs and 4 on the front legs. So you might want to look at some reference photos of axolotls before you get started, just so you can see what their feet and their toes look like. They can also regenerate body parts, so you may see some that are maybe missing a toe or something. A lot of people have axolotls as pets, and they're super cute because they really look like a baby pretty much their whole life. They always have that little tail that looks like a tadpole tail, and then they have these big eyes that are spaced a little further apart, which makes them so cute. And again, I'm just looking at it, it looks like the axolotl's left arm, the one on the right, is up a little bit higher in space because it's further back. So I'm just making sure that I put that one up a little higher. You'll notice that on the back legs, the axolotl's left leg, the one on the right, is a little bit higher up. So you do the same thing. If you want something to look like it's higher and further back in space, it's going to be a little bit smaller, and then it's going to be higher up on the page. All right, so now let's erase some of those directional lines that we don't need. I'm using my cute little panda bear eraser. All right, so now we're gonna put in the cute little gills on the axolotl. Those antler looking things coming out the side of their head, those are actually gills. And I'm using directional lines to make sure to put them in the correct place. Another one of the cute features of the axolotl. So you want to use these directional lines to build your gills off of the axolotl's head, just like we did for the tail and for the legs. All right, good job drawing your axolotl. One other thing that I found helpful, if you have one, is a pencil eraser or eraser pencil, either way you want to call it. It's just exactly what it sounds like, and it's a real skinny eraser. That's great for getting rid of the tiny lines that you don't need. If you don't have one of these, you can always use the back of just like a number 2 pencil. That's a great way to get in there into a tiny area. Next, I'm going to use directional lines to put in the facial features of our axolotl. So I'm going to draw a light line down the center, and again, please keep your pencil lines very, very light. Like I'm drawing a little bit darker so you can see my lines, but you should keep them super light to where you barely see them. And then you put your eyeballs right on those lines and make sure to keep them spaced apart, because the axolotl eyes are spaced apart pretty far, and that's one thing that makes them so adorable to us humans, because their eyes are so far apart. For some reason, that's really cute. And then they have this cute little mouth where they always look like they're smiling, even though they might not be, but they always look like they're happy and smiling. Then you can erase those lines, because you kept them super light, so now you can erase them, right? Okay, we've erased all of our lines we don't need. So now I'm going to speed it up a little bit, but I'm using my lightest pink to follow the direction of the shape of the tail. And I'm just going to continue to fill in pretty much the entire animal, with the exception of where the gills are, because those are going to be a different color pink. So you can draw around the gills. If you don't, you mess up, that's okay. We can layer the darker pink on top, don't worry about that, but try to draw around the gills and leave the white of the paper where they are for now, so that we can do a darker pink for the gills later on. Okay, now we're going to take our medium pink to make that little line that you see on the inside of the tail of the axolotl, and then we'll also use it for what follows up its back. It's like a fin, kind of. So right now I'm just layering that medium pink on the tail. And I see a little more of a pinkish color in this axolotl that I'm looking at, so I'm gonna add a little more to the midsection of the body and just layer that pink color for a couple reasons. Number one, I see it in there, and number two, I want the body to look like it's further back than the head in space. And so I want just some kind of separation between the head and the body. And then I see some cute little pink cheeks, and it's just fun to add pink cheeks on a cute little character. And axolotls are pretty adorable, so I feel like they should definitely have pink cheeks. All right, next we can work on the gills using that same pink, and I'm just pressing down a little bit harder so that the gills stand out better. All right, next, take your darker pink. This is like a magenta. And we're gonna add some details to our gills. So you have one line down the center. And then it almost looks like tree branches coming off of the center line. And you just keep going like that until you've done all 6. And next you can put in the little mouth. I'm using that darker magenta color. Little eyebrows. And so for the fin-like thing that the axolotl has on the back, you just follow along the line on the back and then continue on to that little center part of the tail that makes it look like a tadpole. And then I'm just shading with that darker pink on the back of the axolotl, so it looks like its little fin. And I'm layering the lighter pink on top to blend the fin in a little more. And just working on the tail so it stands out a little more. And then I take the lightest pink for the final blending. If you want to blend a darker color into a medium color, say, then you take the lightest color to do the blending. Another option is to have a blending colored pencil stick, and really it's just like a clear stick that goes on top to blend your colored pencils. But if you don't have one, another great way to do it is to just take the lightest color that you are using and just go over it, pressing down into the paper, and that actually blends the colors for you. I'm just putting a little bit of a shadow on the jawline underneath the axolotl. So now I'm just doing final details, a little bit of shading, then we'll add in the eyeballs, maybe a shadow on the ground, just all the little final details. This is the time where you want to do all your final details. And next I take the darker brown color that I have, or black, whichever color you have, and I'm gonna put the details in the eyes. Then I take the lightest pink for the blending, is all I'm doing right here. You won't see that much of a difference until you get up close to it. You don't have to do this part, it's just if you want a little extra. And same thing, that's what I'm doing on the mouth, just bringing the mouth up a little bit more. Right now, again, I'm just looking at where can I tweak it. It's almost finished. What other little details do I want to add? So axolotls are in water, but they're usually at the ground of the water where like the pebbles are and everything like that, because they're looking for things to eat, like little pieces of shrimp, or they don't really care if it's dead or alive. They're looking for things like that, like dead meat, things like that. And so you want it to kind of look like it's sitting on the bottom. So I'm just doing some light little shading to give us a suggestion of the axolotl on the bottom. All right, let's just add the last little details. Anywhere where you see you might want a pop of color or work on the outline of your axolotl a little bit, like anywhere where it looks like it needs to stand out. I usually get back a little bit from it, you know, because when you're hunched over it, looking the whole time, you don't really see the whole composition, the whole animal. So maybe just get back from your paper a little bit so you can see where the lines need to pop a little more, where you might need to add some more color, etc. And I think that's about it. I hope you had fun drawing this cute little axolotl, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.